Hello there, I'm Cameron Emmanuel Burns, reporter for FinTech Futures here at Sibos in Frankfurt, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Gary O'Brien, the Global Head of Banks and Broker Segment Strategy at BNP Paribas Securities Services. Welcome. And I know we were talking before, you had a bit of an interesting start to get here,
Yeah.
but how has the day at the conference been for you?
Yeah, it's been a good day so far. I think I've had a few different meetings, a few different sessions I've gone to see. It's nice to bring everyone together again and just hear what's going on around the market.
Super. And so to start off with, how has the security services landscape evolved in recent years, and what are the most significant forces reshaping the industry landscape at the moment?
Yeah, I think if we look at how some of the significant evolutions we've seen recently, one thing has been a flight to quality. And what I mean by that is, if we go back maybe 10 years or so, a lot of our clients were spreading their agent bank requirements across a wider range of names. And the logic behind that at the time was that it was seen to be better for comparing different providers and different outlooks, and also just a risk management play of having more agents in case one of them fell over. Recent times has told them that that wasn't the best approach, so they've looked to implement models where they have brought together a smaller number of preferred partners as their collaborators at an agent bank level, and that's allowed them to get better economies of scale across the different providers, and also just reduce the risk of one of the less stable providers causing problems for their business. So that point around moving towards preferred partners has then started to proliferate into different areas of relationships as well, and we're definitely seeing people really focusing on a reduced number of providers across their different focuses. If we look into how that's starting to play into the future, the piece that's having a bigger influence now is things like T+1 and regulatory change, obviously a big focus in the short term, and then digitization and digitalization being a key point that's starting people to really look at where they go into the future.
Super. So what impact have emerging technologies like AI and DLT had on the market, and what are the big trends and use cases you're seeing there?
Yeah, I think let's start with DLT. I think the interesting thing, or the funny thing about DLT, is we've been calling it emerging technology for about 10 years. So, but the reality is that those use cases around it are now starting to become quite a bit more firm and more integrated than perhaps they were for a long period of time. A lot of time had been spent looking at different areas of the market, different areas of what we do, and concluding that there was a value that the technology could be used for there. But the challenge around that was that the use cases were not perhaps picking up enough scale to make the cost of the technology viable in the long term. That's now starting to shift, and we're seeing use cases around things like the Canton network and Ethereum being very much spread across different areas of the business that do really allow you to get more scale and more value behind them. If we look back at last year was very much in the DLT space, a focus on things like tokenizing money market funds and that space. This year, we've seen a lot more focus on collateral and whether you get tokenized collateral, digitized solutions around that, and what that might allow you to do into the long term. And we expect to see a few more value points coming out later this year around that. If we then switch to AI is a very different journey to DLT. I think AI is something that we've been seeing clear value in certain use cases rather quickly. So, for example, at BNP Paribas, we've got our chat bot feature within Neolink that we call Noah, and that's based on technology from Microsoft historically, that has allowed our clients to better self-serve when looking at their reporting requirements, their processing requirements, through our Neolink portal. And that's certainly a big value that we can continue to build on and continue to enhance. And then if we look into the future in the AI space, we'll continue to see ways that AI is augmenting the roles that people have and is bringing more insight over the information that is displayed within the data that's the data sets that we have, that perhaps have historically been a little more complex for human interaction to pull out that information.
Great. So BNP Paribas has been investing in both AI and distributed ledger technologies. Could you share some specific examples of how these technologies are currently being applied within your security services operations, and which applications have delivered the most tangible benefits to date?
Yeah, as I say, I think Noah is a great example of what of where we've used AI to really augment the role we play in the marketplace, and I expect that we'll continue to see evolution in that space. I think a lot of it is really focused on the client interaction and using AI, whether it's through chatbots, whether it's through data analysis and integrate and data investigation, I suppose, to be able to help clients get more information out of that data. I think this is one of the things I always say is a lot of focus can be on the data element and the vast amount of data that we have, but data in itself is just numbers and letters. What is important is the information you can get out of that data in order to be able to make enhanced decisions, quicker decisions, more accurate decisions on how you take the next actions in your area of focus. So AI is something that we're seeing a lot of value in overlaying that to be able to bring greater data or value out of the data that clients have. If we look at the DLT space, as I say, really a lot of our focus has been on how tokenization can play a part in the future of our industry, and making more assets available to clients for a wide range of processes, whether that's collateral, whether that's in investment models and so on. So we continue to see a lot of focus there. And alongside that, then it's about creation of new asset classes, digital assets and so on, which again is a big focus for us today.
So security services has traditionally been a relationship-driven business. How is digitalization changing client expectations, and how is BNP Paribas balancing the human element with increased automation and digital interfaces?
Yeah, relationships remain key in our industry. I think you're absolutely right. It's always been at the heart of what we do. It's always been at the heart of our industry. I talked before about how the relationship models are perhaps evolving between client and supplier to partnership type examples that we see. We can see that as well continuing with the launch of more kind of utility type solutions around things like proximity, where as an industry we've come together to try and better serve our customers through more harmonized solutions across the market. If we look at, again, I mentioned them before, the Canton network, the foundation that's been built on the back of that recently that we've signed up to build better standards across solutions and across different use cases, so that it's easier to kind of follow the swift example of creating standards in our industry is massively important as well. AI does not remove the need for relationships. AI is a tool that augments those relationships and helps to again, as I said before, get better, more quality information that can be used to improve the value to the whole ecosystem. So I think it's not a case that AI will stop us having to talk to our clients. It's not a case that AI to AI conversation will replace human to human conversation in the long-term future of what we do. And you can see, again, just by walking around Sibos, that the importance of human interaction is going to continue into the future.
Absolutely. And well, a bit of a two-pronged question here.
Yeah.
What new market opportunities has digitalization specifically created for security services providers? And are there any particular segments or services where technology has allowed for you to expand your offering or reach new clients?
Yeah, I think I'll answer it as one and try and cover kind of both aspects of that. When I look at digitalization, when I look at how the markets are evolving on the back of it, um, it's true to say that there are examples where it's been easier to get into markets than perhaps there was in the past, whether that's entering new traditional markets or creating new solutions around that as well. But another example where security services firms have been able to evolve is through things like, again, data services. So if we look back over history, we were very much seen as asset custodians. We were gathering assets for our clients, holding them in markets, really looking after the security and safety of them. We've got a number of examples in recent years where we've provided data custody solutions to our clients, and we've continued to evolve our model in that space that allows us to bring that same concept of standardization, security, safety, and solutioning to our clients' data, and not just the traditional assets that we have. It's meant that data has become an asset in its own right. If we look into the future, what I can see happening as things move forward is that clients, as I said before, will continue to look for a mixture of providers across different types of services. Agent banks like ourselves, security services providers, fintech providers, bringing them solutions that are more maybe more niche and more focused on those values of digitization than perhaps it is the core service that an agent bank provides. But what that will create is a need for these customers to find a new platform type solution that is a platform of services, bringing together that whole entire ecosystem in a way that is, again, safe, secure, and robust. A security services provider is a logical party to play that role, because that's the world that we've grown up in. That's the concept of a depot bank, etc. So I can see that the future has the plausibility where a security services provider will evolve into a platform custodian, a party that looks after the network of solutions you have. Some they provide themselves, some other parties do, and gives you the right level of confidence that solution is being overseen in a robust and strong manner.
Super. And so with the rise of digital assets and tokenization, how is BNP Paribas positioning itself to service these new asset classes?
It's a very good question. I think, as we said before, there's a lot of different solutions out there. There's a lot of different focus points. There's a lot of areas where we still need evolution, whether it's around regulation, whether it's around standards, as I mentioned, on how to communicate across different frameworks. Our job is to make sure that we're part of those conversations, not just for ourselves, but for our customers, and making sure that, again, we're bringing our traditional mindset of safety and security and robust structuring to those frameworks as they continue to evolve. So we're part of a number of conversations across a number of jurisdictions where those standards are being structured. We're part of a number of those conversations where the regulation is starting to take shape and be built for the future of the market. But we're also part of a number of initiatives where the plausibility and capability of this technology is being showcased, whether that's with our peers and partners around the market, whether that's with fintechs who are developing these technologies, and whether that's with our traditional customers who are developing new solutions in that space. It's our role to be part of that and help shape the direction that this goes in. I mentioned earlier that the marketplace continues to look at use cases in different areas and different focuses, whether it's tokenization of money market funds, whether it's creation of new digital assets. Obviously, in the UK, we've got launches of different exchanges and frameworks as well. Digit being another example, where the UK is looking at creating a digital issuance similar to a traditional gilt. Our job is to make sure that those things happen in the interests of the wider market and the interests of our customer base, and we continue to focus on that.
Great, thank you. And so what infrastructure changes has been necessary to accommodate these assets alongside traditional securities?
A very good question again. I think what's important to think about in that space is naturally the underlying technology that is being used to facilitate the transactions in that space, or the integration of different parties is different from what we've had traditionally. The markets have worked very well for a number of years on their core platforms, but new markets can implement new technology that perhaps has some different values, different benefits on top of that. But at the end of the day, customers want one single view. They want one single window into their assets, into their investments, whether they're in new markets, whether they're in traditional markets, regardless of what marketplace there is around the world. So in BNP Paribas, what we've done is create a part of our infrastructure, a part of our organization that focuses on the new technology, particularly DLT, and integrating that then into the service offering that we give to our clients at a holistic level. So clients will still want to access a lot of this via our Neolink portal, and our job in traditional custody world has not changed. Our job is to take the complexity of different clients' needs and standardize that for the flow into underlying markets, and vice versa, take the complexity of the different ways different markets provide information upstream and standardize that to the need of an individual client. So we're just adding a new complexity into that structure, which is what our job is to manage.
Super. And to finish off here, looking ahead 5 to 10 years, how do you envision the security services marketplace evolving, and which technologies do you believe will be truly transformative there?
A very, very interesting question to ask. I think if we look ahead to the next 5 to 10 years, I don't see it being the case that digital markets will have completely replaced traditional markets. I believe that the point is that, again, as I mentioned, what we're starting to see now, there will be a need for those to coexist. And therefore, our job and of those around us will be to give the right access across those frameworks in a streamlined and harmonized manner. So our job will be to manage that complexity for our clients as it has been today. I think DLT will have naturally come to more of a prominent position in the market for certain areas. But again, traditional technology will still have a strong part to play where it remains relevant. Artificial intelligence will continue to find further use cases, and effectively what we need to do with AI is find other examples where the same use case is relevant and cross-pollinate the solutions into those areas. That's where you get more bang for the spend that you've had in that area. The bit that is then coming around the corner, and again, it's mentioned at Sibos this year, possibly for the first time, is quantum computing. So on the next step, I guess what we've got to start to do is start to understand how quantum computing will start to influence our marketplace. Will that happen in the next 5 to 10 years? Possibly not, but the thinking around that will need to start to happen during this period to make sure we really understand how it's going to evolve our marketplace into the future.
Well, Gary, thank you so much. It was really, really fascinating speaking with you today, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of Sibos.
Thank you. Nice to see you.